Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee Taylor. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you tonight. This is my fourth time speaking with the Walrus, which is a huge honor. And every time I'm preparing for my talks, I get inspired by this mantra that Walrus has up on their website. They aim to be fearless, witty, thoughtful, and Canadian. And every time I look at that, I think that's exactly what I want to be in my talks as well. Unfortunately, I can only guarantee one of them. But I can do that, and I'm hoping that I can achieve all four. So today I want to take a bit of a broader approach and look at how I think our generation can change the way that energy is viewed and the way that we approach it. And I know that we're here in Canada, we're in beautiful Vancouver, but I want to start in a place a little bit different. I want to start in Rio de Janeiro. So many of you may have heard that in 2012, there was the Rio Plus 20 Earth Summit. For those of you who follow these types of initiatives, this is a big global gathering of leaders from all over the world who get together to talk about sustainability and figure out how 7 billion people can coexist on the planet. And I was invited down to the Earth Summit. Now, this summit is a 20-year anniversary event of the 1992 Earth Summit that happened. And given that I was only 4 years old at the time of that first summit, I thought it was important that I did some research going into it to figure out exactly what came out of the first one and how much progress we had made. So I came across a summary report from the 1992 summit that was published by the Canadian government. And in it, there were 3 barriers that were listed as challenges in achieving a sustainable future. And they were lack of targets and timetables for stabilizing emissions, strong opposition to the reduction of fossil fuel use from oil-producing nations, tensions between the rich and the poor being at the heart of every negotiation. So I'm going to pause here for a second and remind everyone that this is the outcomes from the 1992 Earth Summit. Do those look familiar? That is exactly the picture that we face today. So what troubled me was that not only have we made very little progress since 1992, but in fact, those positions have become even more entrenched and polarized. And it should concern us all that history is repeating itself. But don't worry, I'm not here to be some doomsday speaker. I believe that history repeats itself until it doesn't. And until we have something that comes along, whether that's a shock or a generation, that can change the course. And so today I want to talk about 4 things that I think we all can do when it comes to energy, 4 things that I think we all can internalize in order to make that transition. First, we need to humanize energy. I think it's so important that we start shifting the dialogue away from how do we get more cheap, abundant, reliable energy to what energy is there for. Last I checked, no one actually cares about barrels of oil as big black goop. They care about being transported to and from places. Last I checked, no one actually cared about solar panels because they're a piece of plastic and some wires. They care about solar because it allows children in India to stay up 2 hours later a night and study, or to check the fields at night without risk of being bitten by a snake. Energy is a means to an end, not an end in itself. And we really need to remember that when we're looking at solutions, or else we'll limit ourselves in the solutions that we can achieve. We need to raise the level of discourse around energy. Right now, there is a ton of label setting, stone throwing, and just general polarization that's causing people to feel backed against a wall and take sides. I often joke that I'm a hippie in a suit because my left-wing friends think I'm a corporate sellout and my right-wing friends think I'm a tree hugger. And I'm completely happy to play that middle space because I don't think any of us would argue that we want a vibrant economy and a healthy environment and a future for ourselves. And we need to stop putting labels on each other because at some points we all want those things and we need to work towards solutions to achieving them. We need to create immediacy, relevancy, and community around energy. First of all, with immediacy, this always seems to be the next generation's problem. Someone will fix it eventually. But it needs to happen now, and someone needs to take responsibility. I believe that can be our generation, and I believe we can do it, but we need to start recognizing the facts and listening to the numbers that have been presented and seeing the scale and impact that this problem could have. Around relevancy, we have to show people what this means in their lives and not just talk about these things as 1 million tons of CO2. What's 1 million tons? What's 250,000 barrels? Those things don't mean things to people. We need to put it in their own terms. And we need to create communities around these issues and get people talking and thinking about solutions. And finally, we need to empower the next generation, because right now, globally, we're setting 2030, 2050 targets, and it doesn't take long to do the math and realize that the people setting those targets won't be the ones achieving them. It will be people under the age of 30 that will be on the ground making those things happen. It's so important that we build that capacity in my generation in order to do that. And we want a stake. We care about these things, and we want to push the needle and challenge the status quo. I recently heard a really, really great quote about approaching the future. And it is that when you approach the future, you should approach it with your head in the clouds and your feet on the ground. And what that refers to is, with your head in the clouds, you're always keeping vision of what you ultimately want, being incredibly optimistic, positive, having that ultimate view of what it is that you want to achieve. But with your feet on the ground, you're pragmatic, you're sensible, you're looking at the barriers that are around you, and you're finding out ways to break them down. That's what we need with energy, and that's what I hope I can leave you all with tonight. Thank you so much.